Good morning, everyone. I, Radhika Fuljale, welcomes you all on behalf of Shah and Anchor Kachi Engineering College, Mumbai, India. We at Sakek Research Sale will take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you present here today for this hybrid webinar series of innovative and emerging technology in the field of research in collaboration with all our partners. Today, our speaker, Ms. Teres Bemila, is going to tell us about big data database technologies. Our speaker, Ms. Bemila, is assistant professor in information technology department, SAKEC. She has published 6 papers in international conference and 5 papers in international journal. Her area of interest are open source, cloud computing, database technology, advanced database technology, big data analytics, and data science. She has delivered a few external seminars too. Now I hand over the session to our speaker. Hello. Hello, ma'am.
A very good morning to one and all. We are going to see today the big data database technologies. So in this we will see what are the big data, what do we mean by big data, and what are the database technologies. So we are going to see today with the three big data database technologies, namely HBase, MongoDB and Amazon DynamoDB. So before starting with the database technology, let us understand first of all what is a big data. Big data refers to massive data sets that are collected from a variety of data sources for the business needs to reveal new insights for optimized decision making. In simple terms, we can say big data as a massive data set. As the word stands, it's a large volume of data. This volume of data, this can range to zeta to petabyte of data, not only pertaining to the gigabyte or megabyte. When you exceed to the volume of peta and zeta, that will result into a big data environment. Now, this big data environment, why it is needed actually? Why we are storing such a large volume of data? In order to go ahead for the analytics. Now this picture clearly depicts you racks of servers that are being kept at the back end in order for the storage. It is not only a high computing servers that are stored, but also a sliced rack servers are stored. This slicing can be from the perspective of horizontal as well as from the perspective of vertical. Now this data are coming from variety of data sources. Now this picture will clearly dissipate to you that it is coming from mobile phone, it can be coming from a mail, it can be coming from a laptop or a PDAs or a tablet, so many environment from where the database, this particular data can come. So nowadays we are actually using large amount of application without the knowledge that actually these data are stored at the back end in the big data environment, in the big data database actually. Like for example, I would like to tell you that Facebook, the Twitter, our Google itself, the search engine itself is storing their data in the big data environment. Now why do all these people store their data in the big data environment? In order to do the analytics. Now what type of analytics is this? Big data analytics gives us the hidden correlations and patterns that can be used for decision making. We can make the decision making by using the users what they are looking at. We can that will be used for making some optimized decision making purpose. So we have understood big data. I would like to tell you one more thing over here. Since it is big data, it is not only pertaining to the large volume of data, it also pertains to some other factor as well, like velocity. Velocity means the speed at which these data are coming. It is in a micro or a nanosecond. You can assume the Facebook application or a WhatsApp application. Are we going to send in a minute? Or one person sends the data and the another person sends the data? Is it going to be on a same timestamp? No. So it is coming in a large speed. It is coming in a speed. So that is why we say big data enable us to store such a kind of data that is coming in a speed, large speed. Not only that, but also the variety of data format. See, now we have learned the traditional database wherein we have SQL environment of storage, which says that structured query language or a structured format of storing. So it supports structured data to store, whereas this big data enable us to store a variety of data. Means it can be of any format, a structured, a semi-structured, or an unstructured. It can be of any format. So I would like to bring to your notice here, big data doesn't mean only the volume of the data, but also the velocity and the variety. So with this basic knowledge, quickly let us go to the database technologies of the big data. The database technology of the big data is called to be as a NoSQL, which is nothing but a set of concepts that allows the rapid and efficient processing of data set, with keeping in mind the focuses on performance, reliability, and agility. See here in all the examples which we are going to see database technology, the performance is one of the crucial role for a big data database, because it is storing large volume of data in a very fast speed it has to store, and also the format is also not fixed. So the performance is very, very important. Reliability, that I'm storing, it should be reliable enough, and agility, ready to adapt to whatever kind of data that is coming. It should be ready to capture it and store it. So I say NoSQL to be as not only SQL. It stands for not only an SQL. So we'll just understand few of the characteristics of the NoSQL, so that keeping in this thing characteristic, the other thing we can afterwards when we go for the example or the tools, then these all it will support. We will see that in the real time. NoSQL system stores and retrieve data from many formats like key value store, graph store, column store, document store, and even a row in a table. NoSQL systems allows you to extract your data using interface without joins. So we say it's a join free. NoSQL systems allows you to drag and drop your data into a folder and then query it without creating any ER model. Backend modeling is not at all needed. NoSQL systems allows you to store your database on multiple processors and maintain the high speed performance. NoSQL systems leverages low-cost commodity processor that have separate RAM and disk. That is why we say it's a shared nothing commodity computers. See, this all big data is dissipated on a distributed platform rather than on a centralized. It is having a distributed fashion of storing. So distribution provision us in 4 different architecture, whether a shared memory, shared nothing, shared disk, all this you people are aware. So one of that is it is allowing us to do the shared nothing commodity hardware. When you add more processor, you get a consistent increase in the performance. The performance keeps on increasing when we keep on adding our processor. The performance also keeps on increasing. That is called as linear scalability. I said scalability means keeping on adding the processors. NoSQL offers option to a single way of storing, retrieving, and manipulating of data. Hence, it is an innovative approach. So with this basic knowledge, we have understood what is a big data. We have understood what is a big data database technology called to be as NoSQL. Now I will take you to the tools of the big data. See, this particular slides gives you a clear picture of where the NoSQLs are used. I was taking one example of Facebook and all. So now you can see this clear where Google is using which particular database, LinkedIn is using which database, Facebook which one, Twitter which one, Netflix which one, and Seren which one. All these are the day-to-day applications or the software systems that we are using on our day-to-day basis. So with this knowledge of NoSQL, we will go ahead with the initial technology, that is a HBase, are called to be as a Apache HBase. Here the H stands for Hadoop environment. This HBase is one of the column-oriented database built on the top of HDFS. I said it is a Hadoop database. So it is a Hadoop distributed file system. In the file system, on the top of whatever storage you do, you are doing in the HBase. It is a column-oriented database. Of course, I would like to bring you one thing over here. SQL versus NoSQL. SQL supports us with row-oriented storage. Whenever you try to insert any data, you insert it on a row-wise. So that's why we call it as row-oriented storage. Whereas NoSQL allows us dynamic storage or a column-oriented storage. So that's HBase provides us with a column-oriented database of Hadoop technology. Since it is of Hadoop technology, it is an open source project. Everyone understand what the open source technologies are. They are easily downloadable and you can start accessing. Once the package is downloaded to you, you are ready to start with the accessing those particular tools. It will enable us for horizontal scalable. Data consumers can read and write access the data in HDFS, I mean to say Hadoop distributed file system, randomly using the HBase tool. HBase sits on the top of HDFS and provides us to do read and write access. With this knowledge, we will go ahead with learning how the table can be created in the HBase. Tables in HBase are called to be has a collection of rows. Rows is a collection of column family. Column family is the collections of columns. An individual column is a collection of a key value pair. Now, how to access this HBase shell? For this, I would like to tell you, you install Cloudera operating system inside your PC or via a virtual boxes, some VMware workstation you put, and there you try to install the Cloudera. Once this Cloudera is installed, you can go ahead by writing these commands on the terminal prompt. You can write as cd space /usr/localhost/enter and then cd space HBase. You will lie down into HBase prompt. So you would be thinking that I have not installed any packages here for the HBase. Since I have told you to install the Cloudera, it inbuilt has this HBase tool already installed within it in its operating system, in its OS. So with this knowledge, we have connected to the HBase prompt by writing the HBase keyword in the terminal. In order to get what are the manuals, what are the list of commands that I can use in HBase, you write simply help on the HBase prompt. In order to create the table. So now this slide is very important. Table, I said what, it's a collection of row and row is a collection of column families. So now when you create any table in the HBase, you need to give the table name followed by the column family. So all these are given in a single quote. So this create space table name comma column family, this enable us to create our table in the HBase. Now in order to populate the table or in order to insert the value into the table, look at the second option, put followed by table name followed by the row followed by the column family with the value and with a key and further followed by the values. I said this particular HBase allows us to store in a key value fashion. Key value fashion, here the column CF:A, this A is our key and values is whatever value you want to give. Suppose you want to give the name of the student. So in the value one, you can write the name of the student. So the key is our A and the value is whatever data that we are putting. So like this, here we have dissipate with the 3 values that we can insert. Now inside the table, what are things are there? And that information, if you want to see, you can write list followed by table name. The first one, list followed by the table name. You will be able to get whatever information that table is having. Now, if you want to get the data inside the table, you have to write scan command. You have to use scan command. Scan space the table name. This will give you the data that are stored inside our table test. Now we are able to insert the data with the put command. Now in order to retrieve the data, what are we going to do? In order to retrieve the data, the command allowed with us is get space the table name followed by which row we are wanting to see. Here we have specified with a single row. Here you can proceed with putting one comma and write another row also. So if you are looking to retrieve 2 rows, you can do the same. but you need to have the row name being in front of you. Now, in order to enable the table, you write enable followed by the table name. In order to disable table, you can write disable command. Now, this is just making the table to be active or deactive. I'm not removing the table from the database. So for removing the database, for the table from the database, you need to give drop space the table name. This enables us to remove the table completely from the HDFS system. That is Hadoop distributed file system. Whatever tables, whatever database, a database will have tables. Tables are stored in the Hadoop environment in the HDFS file system. That is Hadoop distributed file system. So when I write drop space the table name, this particular table is erased from our repository or our file system. Now, in order to last one, in order to get out of the shell of the HBase shell, the command available to us is HBase followed the command in the command prompt HBase you write quit command. This will enable us to come out of our HBase shell. Now this is all about the HBase, the basic one. Here this HBase is supported mostly for Linux platform. If you are wanting to do for the installation for the Windows, yes, it allows you, but individually all the packages you need to install. Like you have to start installing with the Hadoop environment, Hadoop components, individually each ecosystem components. You have to install the packages individually in the command prompt, and then you can proceed with the commands, this whatever commands of creating table, deleting we have learned, that you can proceed. So this is all about our initial stage, that is our HBase. Now we'll go ahead with the next database, big data database technology, that is MongoDB. Now MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database that provides high performance, availability and easy scalability. It's a document-oriented storage. The previous one which we saw, HBase, is a column-oriented storage. Now this is a document-oriented storage. So what will happen is simply we will store it in the fashion of documents, not of the column families. The column family, that will not come into picture here. The documents is what the fields that we will store our data. Database is a physical container for all the collection. One container, one database is a container of collections. Set of files are stored in the file system in the database. A single MongoDB server can have multiple databases. One collection will be an equivalent to a single table. Okay, so we say it works on the concept of collection and document. It works on the concept of collection and document. So what is a collection? Collection have a group of document. A group of documents, one single document will have a collection of different fields or attributes where I will put my data. A document stores the data in the fashion of a key value store. It will store the data in a key value fashion. That will be a key associated. Then followed by that, what data we want to store, it will be stored in the value. A document or single documents can have dynamic schemas. What do I mean by schema over here is, dynamic schema means that document in the same collection do not need to have the same set of fields or a structure. It can have a common field in a collection document, may have different types of database. See here what we are simply telling is a collection of column need not have a same set of field. It can have a set of different field also. I don't mean to say that dynamic schema means it will have same particular field or something like that. It can have different field altogether inside it. So this is all about the dynamic schema. Now we'll see with respect to our traditional database environment. With respect to our traditional database environment, what is this? MongoDB, the tables and columns are called to be as a database is called as database. Tables are called to be as a collection. Tuples are called to be as a document. Columns are called to be as a field, and primary key is given as default key value as _ID. This is provided by our MongoDB itself. This is provided by the MongoDB itself. Now, what are the data types that MongoDB supports? Strings, integer, booleans, double, arrays, timestamp, object, null, date, binary data, and many more. We'll see how to use the commands, how we can proceed with the commands in the MongoDB. Initially, you create the database, writing db space the database name. Then you use the database by telling use space the database name. Now, in order to check what are content that are there inside the database, show space DBSs. In DBSs, why? Because we are listing inside all the databases. So here, then the table that is available is test. Since we have not created, just as dummy table is there, that is the test has been available. Now you want to delete the database, write db space db dot drop database function, invoke drop database function with the database name as db. So this will delete the database itself. Now we are going to create a table. This table creation is called as create collection. Okay, so this is a minute change. But the table, we write table create space the table name. So here we have create collection as a function with us, wherein you can specify the table name as my collection, followed by what are the options that you are looking for. So one example is distributed db dot create collection followed by the collection name as table name as my collection. Okay, then the value is, it is telling that once you entered by writing all this, you will get an output as OK colon 1, means your database is created with one table inside it. In order to insert the records, you can write db dot the collection name dot the function insert, and there you give the dynamic attribute, the name, followed by the data inside it, the value. Show, it will give you what are the database, inside database what are the table that are available. Now you can see previously we were having only test. Now you can see MyDB is also there over here. The primary key of the table is _ID. So it is of 12-byte hexadecimal unique for every document in a collection. This is normally created by the MongoDB itself. Okay. Whenever you write object ID opening the function, it will automatically insert that particular data. And then you start creating the attribute like title followed by the values, description. These are the attributes or the fields that we have, which is called to be as fields, right? Documents have fields, and documents are created with the help of collections. So collection is our table name. Then we have a document which will have the values inside it. Name is nothing but a fields. Okay, with the value inside it is a tutorial's point. So now if you list the database content, if you want to see the list the database content, it is showing you MyDB is there inside it. Okay. So this allows us to do a single insertion, one particular title, description, by URL tags, links, all these are given as an fields inside it and with the values assigned to them. Now if you want to do a multiple document, you want to write in a single query itself, you can do with the insert but in the format of an array. See the function insert function having a round bracket open, and then there is a square bracket. It tells that you are opening an array list wherein I am going to have many many such data to be inserted. Now next, if you want to display the data's content, display the documents in a non-structured way, you write find function db space the collection name or the table name dot find function. If you invoke, you will get what are the data in a non-structured fashion. Means simply it allows us to database. This database allows us to store in a unstructured data also. So non-structured way it enables us to display. But if you want to display in a structured format, there is another method, pretty method, wherein you can write db dot my table name, that is my collection, create collection dot the find function dot the pretty. This will display us the data in a formatted way. Now, if you want to perform update queries, there is a update function with us, db dot the table name dot update function with the criteria followed by the update. Which data do you want to update? Which particular field or document do you want to update? Like here we have given an example of three documents to be updated, object 1, 2 and 3 with a so different title. But if you want to do all this thing together in one particular single thing without specifying the object id, you can do, but you have to write this word as multi-colon true. This has to be there, which specify that there are many changes, there are set of changes. So this multi-colon is a true. So you go ahead with doing the changes in title 1 as well as in the title 2. Two different title I am making the changes. So that if you want to specify, you can do, of course, yes, with the help of multi-colon true. Now if you want to save the data, you can save by using db dot the table name dot save function with the id and the data, whichever new data that you want to add and save it. If you want to remove particular documents, yes, you can do db mycolon dot remove. Okay, and in order to find any data, you can write find. So now this finishes the MongoDB. So now in MongoDB, how we is, I have just shown you people, I have taken you people with a lot of examples here, lot of commands over here, without giving into picture that how this particular things are going to be installed. How are you going to install this MongoDB? It is very simple. You just need to go to the MongoDB site, MongoDB, okay, www.mongodb particular site, you have to go to there, and there is a download option. You download it, and once you have downloaded it, you have to specify whether you want to download it for Windows or you want to download it for Linux platform. It allows us to do in both the environment. If you but you just need to check whether you are downloading it for Windows or Ubuntu. Rest all working remains same, which I am explaining you now. Once you have downloaded the exe, you open the exe of this open the exe in the terminal point, means you will open it and the command prompt will come into you, and there you have to write a query for the server to invoke the server and minimize it and keep. Then the query for the client, all these queries is available in this official MongoDB site, how to open the server and how to open the client. So once the server is open, minimize it, open another terminal prompt, and there you run the client, and in the client you can execute all these commands that we have learned. So this method of opening the client and the server and then executing these commands remains same irrespective of whether it is a Linux or a Windows platform. So I hope this particular thing is very clear for you people all. Now we will see the proprietary product Amazon DynamoDB. Amazon have a lot of components in front of it. It has also have the provision for database, which is called to be as DynamoDB. It also have the provision for another database, that is our SimpleDB is also it is having. It is also having a SimpleDB or a Amazon DynamoDB. Now we will see, this is a proprietary product. I said it is allowing you to provision. If you want to explore it, you can explore it with a free trial version, but it will of course ask you for the login credentials. That becomes little bit difficult, but you have to give the login credential and then you can start with exploring. Now once you have given the login credential, you can explore whatever commands that we are going to learn in the CLI, that is command line interface, or you can say the management, AWS management console. So we'll start with this. This is a proprietary product. The two things that we have learned is the HBase and the MongoDB. Both are open source product, open source projects or open source product. We can download it and we can start installing. We don't need to pay for it, but this for a particular free trial version remains free. But after that, when you want to go ahead using it, you have to go for pay model. Okay, so DynamoDB is a serverless. Again, in the MongoDB we were having server and client fashion. Here we say it is a serverless, fully managed. By itself it enables us to manage all the database queries. It is designed specifically for the online transaction processing purpose. services. So DB is a serverless, fully managed non-SQL. No, it is not a relational database. It is a non-relational database service designed for OLTP, online transaction processing, day-to-day activity. I mean to say over here is day-to-day workload activity. It allows us to store in the format of, again, key value fashion. Every NoSQL data are going to be stored in a key value pair. So we are going to have a key, and then we are going to have an attribute with the values inside it. So now we'll see some of the few characteristics. Like Amazon DynamoDB is a flexible schema. Yes, it is a flexible schema. Why? The reason is it allows us to store unstructured, semi-structured, any format of data. So schema free. I can dynamically save and start doing the storage of any type of data. Key value data structure, as I've shown you this, this table, see how this is how the table structure will look like. It will have a fixed key value. Key is going to be fixed, and the attributes that you're going to store can increase and decrease. Means you can have any format, not only increase and decrease or decrease and increase. It is as per the user's perspective. It's a event-driven particular programming model. You can access this Amazon DynamoDB via AWS Management Console. This I have already told you. CLI, command line interface, and SDK, software development kit of the AWS. So it is, you are going to access it via a browser with a good internet facility. That is very, very important. It allows us availability, durability, and scalability. Yes, it is scalable horizontally. It provides us with a fine-grained access control. There are different components for access control. It has the accelerator, it has a cloud trail, it has a cloud watch. For cloud watch are kept for the metering service. Once the free trial is over, when still you want to go on using it, they will charge you, which is a metering service that has been integrated with the CloudWatch in order to provide a control operation on the data later. Once the data is stored later, if you want to have a control operation to be performed, then you have a cloud trail. This components inside the AWS, and you can integrate like this. You can integrate with many other AWS services. Like you have web services with you, you have so many other like computing, elastic computing available with you, you have networking service provided by Amazon. So all this service you can easily integrate to your database once if you are using Amazon DynamoDB. Now how do you create a table and a partition? A table is nothing but a data where your data is going to store. Amazon data are stored, Amazon DynamoDB data are stored in the table, and table contains the item with an attribute. So this picture will show you that each particular row is an item, and this item by default have two parameters. One is the key and another one is an attribute. Key is nothing but a primary unique key along with the partition key, and then other attributes are exactly the value you want to that you want to store. Okay, so datas are stored in the table. And this table will have collections of items, and these items have what a unique value which will be a primary key and a partition key. See, we all know that a table will have a primary key, right? So this green color that has been highlighted are all your primary key or a partition key. Items can be represented using key value model or a JSON model. The data, see this table, this diagram shows you items. Another item you can store either in a key value model, like first primary key, then the title with the fields, and then next you like your normal table with the key has a primary key, and rest all your values, rest all fields will be considered as values. You can have different data type like strings, numbers, and booleans. And JSON, this you can dynamically create, you can create the attributes and assign the values for it, like person ID specified with the value, last name value. first name value. So like this you can do it in a format of map and a list fashion, where you can have a map data type also and the list data type also. Like in key value model you have string, number and boolean, like list and maps are not there. So if you want to have that particular data type to be incorporated, you have to go for JSON document model. So this particular green color is a primary key. So now I said previously also, a primary key is not only a primary key, it is a partition and a sorted primary key. That we have to keep it in mind over here. It is not at all a single primary unique key. It also have a partition key and a sorted key. Item is uniquely identified by the combination of partition key and the sort key. So look at this particular table. This table will clearly explain you. This is our normal database table that we have, like primary key, one primary key followed by all the other attributes, right? But I said over here we are going to have a partition and a sort key. So this is how our table will look like, wherein this partition and sort key are what? Sensor ID is our partition key and the sort keys are the timestamp at which this data or values are keeping being stored. So this two table will clearly explain you how the primary keys are there. Okay. Now there is something called as read capacity unit, RCU, read capacity unit and write capacity unit. Whatever read operation that you are going to perform will be in with respect to the size. See, the number of strongly consistent read per second of an item is up to 4 kilobytes in size. Only 4 kilobytes per second of read. One single read is enabling us for an item to read up to 4 KB in size. Similarly, WC stands for write capacity unit, where the number of 1 KB write only is allowed for particular per second. One particular second you can do 1 KB of write. So read you can do 4 KB and write you can do 1 KB. So altogether 5. So 5 read and 5 write you can do at a single slot. Now read operation. There are 4 read operations in front of us: get item, batch get item, query and scan. Now what is this functions going to help us to do? Get item will retrieve the item associated with a specified primary key. Particular key that we are having, primary key. With that unique key, whatever data you want to retrieve, you can do. And if you want to do it with the bunches of an item, you want to retrieve for a particular specified primary key, you can use batch get item. In order to retrieve the items matching for a specified pattern, a partition key, you are using query, and in order to retrieve all the items of my table, I can use scan function. Okay, so now next one is the write operation. Again, here also we have 4 important things: put item, update item, batch write item and delete item. Put item, of course, you are going to write an item to a particular specified primary key. Update, you want to change the attribute of an item with a specified primary key. Batch write item, again a particular batches of write for an item you want to do for a specified primary key you can do. Delete item, you can remove the item associated with a specified primary key. So with this basic knowledge of what are I can do read operation, I can do write operation. So we'll just quickly see how to create a table. See, simple one, I told you that you have to go to AWS free trial DynamoDB version. Again, in there you will get your login credential, free trial login you do, and then you will get with the console DynamoDB. There will be a lot of components: Amazon Elasticity, Amazon Web Service, so many things. And Amazon Dynamo will be also be there. Amazon SimpleDB is there. So there you click on Amazon DynamoDB. From the right side, in the left side, you will get the DynamoDB in front of you, followed by all this parameter: create table, delete table and all. You have to just simply click on create table option, that blue color, create table. You press this, you will be given with the option of creating. You give the table name like order ID over here and an order item. At the bottom level you can see order ID and order item. Once this much is created with the field, means you give the table name and then you specify the attribute inside it. Inside it, like the table name over here is orders, with the attributes inside is that order ID and order items. This much you have to give. You have to give the table name and you have to give which all attribute when you are clicking on create item. Once this is done, you can go ahead with the items particular tab. Next one is particular thing is create item. So in item you can press, there you will get which attribute you want to give, or order id, again attribute, values you specify. Order id is my attribute followed by the data type colon the data, again another one. So like this you can keep on adding the items to your created table, and then you can perform two important things. One is either scan or you can do the retrieve, the query you can do. Either you can scan or you can query. See, write operation we have done by using the create table and the create item option. Again, there are different actions of doing, like you have we have learned different write operations that we want to put, we want to update. Yes, of course we can do that all inside that item tab. Then we can scan the table. For that you just click on scan and give the table name along with the partition and the sort key or the primary key. See, you have to keep it in mind here one thing, that you need to specify the primary key over here in the scan, and when you are using query you have to give the primary key along with the partition key. Means scan you can simply give the table name only, that is enough, but in query you have to give the partition key as well. Okay, so to learn more you can go through all this link, https for the hbase.apache.org for our hbase, Apache hbase. You can go for MongoDB. I told you that you can go and download it from the MongoDB site, https://www.mongodb.com, wherein you can download and start installing. Similarly, Apache Hadoop also allows this to install, but if you do Cloudera, it's all together available in one particular system itself and you can start using. And in order to explore to the DynamoDB, you have to go to https://aws.amazon.com/DynamoDB. Further in the Amazon, we are looking for the DynamoDB. So we have learned HBase, we have learned Amazon DynamoDB, we have learned MongoDB. So thank you so much for patiently listening to my words. You have learned big data database technology, the three database technology I have come across with you people guys. Apache HBase, the Dynamo, Amazon DynamoDB and MongoDB. All of you stay home, stay safe, but never stop learning that you have with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we have some question. May I ask?
Yes, sure. Sure, ma'am.
First one, which driver can be used for edge-based connectivity?
Here I would like to tell one thing. We can use ODBC, that is the Open Database Connectivity. See, now I have explained you all the commands that is at the backend level, right? If you have an application which you want to connect with this particular big data database technology, you need a driver in between to communicate with the front end and the backend. So the driver that is there for HBase is of course ODBC. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, next question. Similarly, which driver for MongoDB?
For MongoDB, it is JDBC, that is Java Database Connectivity.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, next question. Can you give any application for edge-based MongoDB and Amazon DynamoDB?
Yeah, for HBase, you can see I'm giving you application. Okay, you can take this database to whatever application you want to develop it to, but only concern is the data should be a large volume of data. Simply with the small data, if you are going to use this, is only very useful for you. So for example, the application like for HBase, you can use sports also, wherein you can have a field storing different matches of history for better analytic and prediction. Like if you store the history of one particular sports one day happened in a particular field, and then you can do the matching and analyzing of the data, and you can give some prediction that next time this sports, this particular people can win, this particular people can, this particular prediction you can do. In MongoDB, you can use it for the blogs and content management, where a lot of data are coming. You can analyze it and then you can say this blog is highly been rated. So that analysis you want to do, you can use it for e-commerce product catalog and all. And DynamoDB is specifically, you can go ahead with IoT applications. IoT, like nowadays, Internet of Thing is one of the biggest thing that boom in our particular engineering field, wherein IoT you can integrate with our DynamoDB, or IoT data like sensors data, that you can integrate with DynamoDB, because Amazon by itself have a particular application or a software for putting the IoT devices. So that IoT device data you can fetch it and store in the DynamoDB, and you can give some analysis whether true or false, like that. And for the mobile gaming and all, you can use the DynamoDB. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, next question. What is file format for images?
File format
For images?
for images.
Hmm.
File format, what are the types of data that we are storing in our big data? It will be called as the images only. Whatever instance of data that we store, it will be of instance only. The file format can be any type. Like I said, that big data provisioners for storing the structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So the format of data storage can be of any fashion. So the particular data that we store, we will call it, the instance is called as an images and stored it in the Amazon. Normally Amazon stores the particular one of the data, or one particular data that is coming in the format of an images only normally.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope participant got the answer. Ma'am, last question. What type
Yeah.
of database can be stored in these big data database technologies?
Yeah, data, see, normally datas are classified into different types. The database, normal database structure like Oracle and SQL servers and all, support us for structured data to store. If you are looking for storing unstructured data also, semi-structured like XML data and all, unstructured data, that is data coming from the web instantly, such a data if you want to store, yes, of course, the big data database technology is ready to store such a kind of dynamics data. So the data formats for big data technology, of course, you can store structured, semi-structured, and unstructured.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge regarding big data database technologies with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you,
Much.
Radhika. Yeah.
I have a small token of our appreciation on behalf of Sakek Research Cell for you, ma'am. Please accept it with your sincere thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to take an opportunity to thank all of my colleagues, all our management and our HOD madam, and also our dearest Nilakshi madam, for giving this opportunity to present my knowledge with all of you people. So I take the opportunity to thank not only this participant, but also to all our organizers, the webinar organizers, and our Madam Dr. Nilakshi Madam, and our principal sir, and our management. Thank you all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for making this event a grand success. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.